You're a shining star, no matter who you are, shining bright to see.
Welcome to Spiritual Badass TV. We have Mardi Storm today. Yay. Mardi is an amazing artist. We're going to slip you some pictures of her work while we're talking here. You're going to be blown away at what she creates. But I wanted to have you on because, first of all, you're such an inspiring person. Your energy is so fantastic. You're so uplifting and happy, and you have so much to share with the world. You have so much wisdom about self-love and the importance of in creating art, but you know, just in general as a wise woman in the world. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about your own journey and how it can apply to other people, and what you do in classes, how you teach people. And
well, those are a lot of topics right there to cover. You got
hey, we
hours.
got time.
It has been quite a journey of self-love. I'd say that's one of the most important pieces, is learning to love ourselves in order to really truly be alive and truly offer our gifts in the world. And that's like going right there to the core of it. Most people are wounded.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that from my own journey, because that's the part that was wounded in me. You know, many years of living from a place that was wounded and not being able to be in the world in the way that was authentic to me. Because I didn't have that, I didn't know how to love myself. So it's been a big, huge journey over many decades, and in learning that, and let's see, there was a huge shift probably 15 years ago where I got that download and learned all of that around self-love, and that set me on a whole other trajectory in my life than what I was living prior to that.
What were you living prior to that?
Oh, let's see. You know, I got a degree in science. I was working in the field of agriculture for 10 years, sorry, and
Wow.
really was trying to do the right thing in the world, you know, with like the, you know, working my way up in a huge, you know, multinational corporation, and, you know, it looked good. Had my own office, assistants, I traveled, you know, sounds really great for someone else's life. And it wasn't what set my soul on fire. And I just knew that, and I knew because I was a pretty odd, you know, off the beaten path child, that really didn't quite match, but I was really trying to, you know, make it work in this world. And it really didn't match the wild, creative person I was growing up, that really didn't fit in that world. And at some point in time, what was it, would be in my late 20s, I guess, was when I was like, this is not me, this is not my life, this is not what I'm here to do. And so I let it all go and pursued what was opening up to me next, which was art, which is really what touched my soul, and healing work. So both of those two things opened up at that time, and I began the journey towards healing myself. You know, all that baggage that led me down the roads of living somebody else's life, you know, living what the society expected me to do, and valuing, you know, money, career, valuing all these things that weren't truly lighting me up.
Mm-hmm.
So what I found myself is healing myself, and then being able to start helping other people heal themselves, so that they could love themselves more and get in line with their own true passion and what they're here for. And that's a huge passion of mine, is helping people to discover what they're really here for, because we all have a unique reason to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Our souls are a totally unique piece of the divine. Sometimes it blows me away. I go out into the city or some place where there's tons of people, and I just look around and go, oh my God, there are so many people on this planet, and no two are alike.
That's right. No duplicate game pieces have been issued in the Earth game. And that's part of the journey of self-love. I think it's recognizing that you are unique, that you're beautiful exactly as you are. And that's intentional. I mean, I think it's part of, I say it's part of the all it is. Like, it wouldn't be all it is without you. It would be all that is minus one, or all that almost could be, right? It would be sorely lacking. That's where art comes in a way, because, I mean, I always say everybody's an artist in some way. Everybody's creative, certainly.
Yeah.
And some people are just more obvious about it, you know, creating like large, beautiful sculptures like yourself, or paintings or whatnot, or people who create film and people who create music. And obviously we can look at them and go, oh, there's an artist. But anyone is an artist or can identify as one because we all have something unique to bring through.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to identify myself as an artist because, when I was younger, I didn't have that confidence. I thought, oh, artists are those people over there, those particular group, that's, it's kind of like social proof. Like, oh, everyone agrees that that's an artist and that's art. That's what art is. Or maybe you think, oh, I didn't go to art school, therefore I can't call myself an artist. And the same with the writing, because I'm a writer too, and sometimes I encounter that belief system, like, oh, you don't have any training, you don't know the classics, how can you be a writer, And like all these things are unnecessary. They're all negative limitations, but they're somebody else's belief system that we get entangled with. So that this journey is to disentangle from all these bogus limiting thoughts and throw them out the window when they show up. So it's a one by one, right? Like it's not an overnight thing to start loving and accepting yourself as a unique individual, right? It takes a while. You got to start noticing the thoughts that go on in your head and go, wait a minute, I don't accept that anymore.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I'm not going to... So many people talk down to themselves all the time, and it's so damaging. It's so important to love yourself. It's the most important thing you can do in life, because it ripples outward to everyone else.
Absolutely.
Right.
You got it. When you're vibrating in a place of self-love, it affects every single person that you're around or who you talk to, or even allows them to say, whoa, she, just to on that unconscious level to recognize, oh, she's loving herself. Maybe I could love myself.
Yeah,
that's part of this, what gets set in motion.
It's like you're signing a permission slip unconsciously for everyone else to love themselves when you do it. You're holding that ground, holding that vibration.
Nice. Well, and as you were saying about all these belief systems that we carry, I mean, it's not reality. None of it's reality. It's this consensus reality. Like everybody's agreeing that those are the artists over there. Mm-hmm. Those are the writers over there. And you have to do this, this, and this, and this in order to be a writer. Like, who wants to buy into that? That's a reality, should you choose to accept it. It's the one that's, propagated by mass media and et cetera, but it's not reality, because the truth is every single human being is creative. Every single one of us is capable of being creative. I can't even say it's uniquely human, because animals are demonstrating creativity too. But we each have that ability. That is like a powerful energy. It'd be like saying, oh no, I'm not compassionate because I just don't have that compassion function. Like that's missing, or I'm not, I can't love, I don't have that ability. That is to say I'm not creative. It's the same. It's a powerful vibration that when it moves through us, it connects us to spirit. It connects us to like our deeper soul self. I mean, is one way to say it. Mm-hmm. Or connecting to another way would just be connecting to our true essence.
Yeah, it's like your soul needs expression. I mean, that's why we came here to be physical beings. We came here, I think we're kind of alchemists. We're blending the different energies of the physical earth dimension with other dimensions. And
Absolutely.
When an artist is really in the flow, when you're really into it. I used to, as a kid, I would always do this. I would go in my room for hours, all day long. I'd be absorbed in some kind of project, and I would time did not apply to me. I didn't eat. I didn't think about anything. I was in my own zone. And that is a state of channeling. And people experience that in all kinds of ways. Like a windsurfer is totally in that state. It's just a state of connectedness. It's like the pipe is open, from your higher self through your crown, if you will, in the woo-woo sense, But so that's why it makes sense that you were becoming increasingly unhappy, because you weren't really expressing your true self. It was like knocking at the door, like, come on, it's time to express. And you're like, no, I'll just stay in this little cubicle. I'm in this little corporate reality.
Hey, I have a little office.
Oh. Well, that makes it harder to leave, right? With all the spoils that you get.
All the spoils. But it was one of those things that, I was there on the weekends painting, going, gosh, I wish I had more time for this. Gosh, I wish I had more time for this. I never abandoned that practice, but it was like, I wasn't being fed enough. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people are in that same situation. Not that I'm telling people to go quit their jobs and pursue things. It's more like, what is it? Because you can have your job and your career and something that brings meaning, and still pursue your creativity.
There's always a way.
The part that brings balance to your career, your livelihood, what is also important to you, because there's many different. We're all different, and there's so many different valid ways of being in the world, as many as there are people. So we still need accountants and engineers and everything like that, but they need a little space for creativity to express themselves, whether it's through acting, writing, painting, windsurfing, whatever it might be, something that they are able to move into that space of not knowing and seeing what happens. That's like creativity. Like, what's going on here? Let's find out. Let's just open up to it. That's opening the channels.
Yeah, it's like bringing your whole self to the table. Like a lot of people compartmentalize themselves. They're like, okay, I go to work and here's my work persona and this is who I'm allowed to be. But I have this other thing, maybe they're in the woo-woo closet, and they don't want to tell their coworkers about that. Actually, they're doing, that's a whole other series we're going to have on this channel. Maybe they're doing like psychic readings for their friends on the side and they really secretly wish, I wish I could just do this full time, So there's subtle ways to integrate. And because what's going on is just like a subtle rejection of yourself. When you're forcing yourself into a mold, in your corporate day job or whatever, so there's a way to start integrating in small ways, bringing that in, because you're saying, here's me, here's who I am, no apologies. And people will respect that. The more you love yourself and respect what you're doing, people won't give you flack. It's a reflection. The outside's a reflection of what's on the inside.
It is. That's how energy works, right?
That's right.
It's a reflection. If you practice the self-love, the energy follows. And when we're happier and more open energetically, it's more creativity flows through us in everything we do. And new ideas come through, and new ways of being come through, and often more compassionate resonance comes through, because we're giving that first to ourselves. We're being compassionate enough with ourselves to say, hey, this makes me happy, I'm going to do that. Like just the littlest thing.
Yeah.
It turns us into a happier person.
Yeah.
We're giving, it's again going back to the self-love. I'm willing to give that to myself for no reason, no logical reason other than that's what I want to do right now, and that would make me happy, and I feel fed in some unseen way from doing that, whatever that is.
That's beautiful. I feel fed, spiritually fed.
That's like feeding my soul. These classes that I teach. And do on a regular basis. I mean, I do the practice myself all the time because it feeds my soul. Soul painting isn't about product, about painting a painting to put on the wall. It's about what wants to come through me. Just letting it flow. And it could be anything. It could be something beautiful or scary or ugly or come up upside wrong ways, upside down, all these different directions. Who knows and who cares? Because it's just about letting the energy flow. In the past 20 years, 30 years, a big push in healing circles and in New Age circles, if we want to go out in this limb, I don't know, but just say, of moving towards the light and moving everything towards the light and saying that other stuff doesn't, let's avert ourselves from that and give energy to that which we want to create, which absolutely we want to give energy to that which we want to create here on Earth, 100% behind it. However, we can't be in denial about what is either. And the parts that are suffering, the parts that are angry, whether that's manifested in people or populations or countries or even their own feelings inside, because the macrocosm and microcosm are the same.
That's right.
Are we rejecting those feelings inside and saying, no, I'll only put energy towards that which is what I want more of in my life, more love, connection, all the fun stuff, and rejecting myself? Am I rejecting my sadness? Am I rejecting the part that wants to feel the sadness? I lost somebody really important to me, or I had a breakup, or my dog died, or whatever it might be. I see a lot of people in this culture bypass that. Let's just go right over they're in a better place now. It's that old, philosophy in this country, which is, they're in a better place now. It's like, I don't know if it's like Puritan heritage or what it is, but it's like, well, wait a minute, just because somebody died and left their body, I mean, they probably are okay, but what, I got some feelings about that. And how about letting that be okay to be expressed too? Letting all of it be part of my human experience. Just using an example of how our culture hasn't given a lot of room for us to have our full human experience, and it's like the light is absolutely important, and this shadow piece, which is not really that scary once we look at it, just maybe some tears that want to happen, and somebody wants to find some healthy way of screaming about something. I'm not saying let's be violent at each other. I'm not saying anybody needs to put up with somebody throwing their shadow at them. We each can be responsible for our own shadow and our own difficult feelings and emotions. But what happens is that when we do that, that's an act of self-love. It's an act of saying, yeah, I'm sad, and I'm going to let myself be sad because I love myself enough to acknowledge and honor all of my feelings. Yeah, we're divinity. We have eternal souls in human bodies that know a much bigger place beyond sadness, grief, anger, joy, all the good things we want.
Duality. Yeah.
Yes, that's all true. And here I am having a human experience. What am I here for? Maybe part of it is accepting all of my human experience. Radical idea.
Right on.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I, putting my art into the world, like in the form of my books and my writing, at first that was a scary thing, being exposed, sharing that part. And in the early days, I would get really sensitive, if somebody left a bad review or a negative comment, and I would freak out, so it's kind of a litmus test. I've come a long way. Because now I'm very cool about it all. If somebody does that, I just send them love, and I could see their belief system. It's about their beliefs and their projecting, and I have no negative energy whatsoever going out to that, because I don't have it within anymore. Because the outside's always mirroring, right? So if somebody criticizes you and you have a problem with that, it's because you're agreeing. You're criticizing yourself. You're getting on that and you're saying, yeah, that's true. I don't like that. So if you don't have that belief, if you don't hold that criticism of yourself, you just go, you just let it wash off your back. I mean, and that seems like an impossible dream for some people, but you'll get there. Yeah, I think that's the beauty of aging.
Well, what I like to suggest to people is that what anybody else thinks of you is none of your business.
Very good.
It doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, somebody's going to clash with that because of their beliefs, because of their wounding. It's really not about you. It's about you in that you're helping them to see it, It's uncomfortable, but yeah, you're showing them something if they choose to look at it. You can't control what other people do with that, but if your intentions are good, don't give yourself any flack, for pushing people's buttons. It's actually a service.
Right. And if we can not take it personally, that person might come around and become your biggest fan at some point.
Yeah.
Because you did basically show them where their own limitation was. And oftentimes when somebody reacts like that, it's because they want it. They want to be able to be that free, or they want to be following the dream that they weren't allowed to follow.
Right. That's right, because they're in the rule system. There are rules. I'm following the rules. Why shouldn't you follow the rules? How come you get to be free and be an artist or whatever?
Right.
It's a healing journey. So what sort of healing do you do? Can you talk about that for a minute?
Well, yeah, I do breathwork with people, and then I also do soul painting, which is also a form of healing work. So, and I often do the two together with people, so they're working on multiple levels. So with breathwork, it's about really connecting in with your deeper self, with your soul self. And you talked about the belief systems earlier. It's about learning what our belief systems are and releasing them. And it's a somatic experience of releasing them. So it's one thing to know it mentally, and that's another to really let your whole body catch up with that knowledge and to let it go and shift into what your soul resonance really is. And then I find the soul painting is also part of the healing journey, because it's like embodying those truths and continuing that practice of self-love and self-acceptance with what comes up.
That's great. And that's powerful because you're bypassing the conscious mind somewhat. And that's where you can get a lot of work done when that pest isn't in the way. So do you do sessions with people distance or phone or Skype? Okay,
absolutely.
so anybody anywhere in the world
Absolutely.
could
Totally.
avail themselves of those services. Wonderful. And how do they get a hold of you? Do you have a website?
Absolutely. It's awakentoyourdeeperself.com.
awakentoyourdeeperself.com. I like the sounds of that.
Spells it all out for you.
And then your artwork is on display in places, right? You do some commissioned work.
Yes, absolutely. My artwork's been on display all over the place. I've actually been had sculptures up and down the state. I actually had that sculpture outside there, the seahorse, was at Google headquarters for 3 or 4 years on loan, and I have also sculptures out in hospitals. I've got artwork in St. Petersburg, Russia, too.
Where's the best place for people to find your art online?
That would be MardiStorm.com.
Okay.
Mardi spelled like Mardi Gras.
Wonderful. Is there anything else that you want to convey to the world in this conversation
A
before we leave?
lot. Well, one thing I do love to say, which is out on my sign out front, is life is short, so make art. What is more important than expressing your soul? And however that needs to happen. So, whether you're doing that late at night or getting up early in the morning to find time to do it, that's what really feeds the soul. And there's a piece here that's really important about why I help people open up to their deeper self. Is because sometimes when we want to just be ourselves, there's just being ourselves, but sometimes it's a response and reaction to our childhood. Mm-hmm. And then there's actually a true authentic nature of who we truly are when we surrender those beliefs of what, we've been talking about this whole time, all the societal beliefs and the beliefs from our parents and all this stuff. When we start shedding all of that, there's actually a part of us that may have something more authentic that wants to come through. And that's why for every single person, I really cannot recommend strongly enough getting in touch with your own true unique essence, because that's really going to have the blueprint for what you're here for and your true self that wants to be shown to the world.
Yeah, now that's exciting. And just learning the difference, learning to feel the difference energetically, because it might sound like a leap for some people.
Yeah.
But baby steps.
Yeah.
Start to notice how you feel. Like, is this my true self? Or is this, my mom's idea of what I'm supposed to do or whatever,
I can identify it sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, this like little feeling comes up or whatever, and be like, oh yeah, that's my 9-year-old self, reacting to that or whatever. And that means I can, I can comfort her and like let her, yeah, I see you, but it's not the truth for me now.
Right on.
So we do learn that we have these different sides up to ourselves.
Yeah, good awareness.
Yeah.
My 9-year-old self is my best artist.
See?
She's my friend.
All parts of ourselves are
that's right.
accepted and welcome
Right.
and loved.
They're all welcome at the table. All right.
Yeah, you bring your inner child over anytime.
All right, we're going to sign off now. So thank you so much for being part of this. And thank you for being your true self.
Thanks, you guys.
You shine.